which is Men in Black from 1997. The IMDb plot summary: James, an NYC cop, is hired by Agent K of a secret government agency that monitors extraterrestrial life on Earth. Together, they must recover an item that has been stolen by an intergalactic villain. This movie is directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, starring Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, and Linda Fiorentino, and a lot of great supporting characters. I think the supporting cast in this movie is phenomenal. So for me, the reason why this is really like my first love of Will, even beyond Independence Day, where it was sort of like the introduction that I had to him on screen, was because of all those multiple elements that I was mentioning earlier. There was a song in this for this movie that was amazing, the Men in Black theme song, and then it really cemented to me this feeling of like, okay, Will Smith summer. That we get a Will Smith movie that comes along with a song that is about the movie that he's singing, that is going to play over the closing credits. He's going to have a big soundtrack. And that to me, like, this is where Will Smith became like a phenomenon, essentially an inescapable phenomenon, was connected to summer, like I mentioned in the intro. I also think this movie too, and I'll get more into the thoughts on the film in a bit, but I just first want to talk about Will. I think this is another example of him coming into this world that is kind of ridiculous of
Mm-hmm.
aliens and a service that is around here to help aliens like integrate into Earth. And he's that character there that can kind of like point out how ridiculous and silly everything is, but still like be believable in that world. He's very good also with the fish out of water scenario here, where
Mm-hmm.
he is a fish out of water, but he still has this insane confidence and
Right.
overconfidence, even though he really shouldn't, because he doesn't understand whatever's going on. But I think that is a charming, sort of fun aspect to his personality, honestly, that even though he knows nothing about this, he still has this arrogance of like, oh yeah, no, I know what I'm doing. Like, oh, okay, I can go in here and do this, even though this is a bunch of aliens, like, just got introduced to this world like 10 minutes ago. Like, I get it. I can do this. And I thought that was super cool and a unique aspect of his persona that just, for me, really works. That confidence. He also is very believable in all the action scenes, but then also has the comedy. Like here, he's definitely playing the comedian to Tommy Lee Jones's kind of straight man, which is the different than Bad Boys. I feel like he was more of the straight man to Martin Lawrence. Here shows how he can be like a charming, funny, like the comedic element in the film, and work so well. Yeah, this movie was big for me for sure, and sort of being like, okay, Will Smith, Summer, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, it's sort of funny. I was thinking about this, and I guess I don't have a memory of watching this movie fully. Or maybe
Oh, interesting.
Independence Day like sort of took over in such a huge way. Of course, I'm aware of it in the song and the costume and all the alien stuff is like so burnt in my brain, but I had no memory of watching this movie. So it was
Oh,
kind of exciting to go and watch it. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun, but it's a kids movie,
yeah.
It's a kids movie, basically. And Will is great. He's playing the same character basically as
He's Will
Independence
Smith.
Day, just with like
Yeah.
this is just basically Will, or at least how we know of him or
His
knew
star
of
persona.
him,
Hmm.
in that time. So I was like, yeah, this is, it obviously cements his career and his rise and the whole charm machine thing. But overall, I don't mean to sound like a downbeat on black people are gonna come charging at me, but I was a little bit like, yeah, it's a fun kids movie.
So I had seen this movie as a kid and loved it, and watched it a lot growing up, and did not like the sequel though. Men in Black 2 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like soured on the franchise pretty quickly after that. But I'd always had really fond memories of this movie, but hadn't seen it in probably like 6 or 7 years. And this on this rewatch, I found the movie actually to be very interesting from a thematic standpoint. I found that the movie is really about asylum seekers and immigration in a way that I did not understand these layers as a kid growing up in the 90s. And from the poster, you think the Men in Black are protecting the Earth from aliens. That's actually not at all what they do. They're actually serving the aliens to help them, like immigrants coming into Earth, assimilating them, protecting them, making sure that they have what they need, that they're set up with the right job, that they're, yeah, obeying the rules. But they're treated with the aliens are treated with a lot of empathy, and the Men in Black care about
Mm-hmm.
the aliens, and they're trying to help the aliens. The humans are kind of the bad guys. Hey, if they knew what was going on here, and that these alien refugees who needed help across the universe and were willing to help as a planet, the humans would get pissed. So we have to like protect the humans from the aliens, because the humans would be like, why do we want aliens here? Like in the same way that, right now we have two presidential candidates in the United States who like hate immigrants and are trying to like out hate immigrant one another. and be sort of anti-immigration and anti-migrants. I was surprised watching this. I'm like, wow,
Mm.
like actually this movie's very pro-immigration and pro-migrant. I'm like, hey, like we should be opening our arms to these people. You know what? Maybe the populace who, the citizens, I'll call it, of United States or Earth won't be like keen with this, but we still feel like we have this job to protect these alien species who need refugees. I mean, they have that big speech in the beginning of the movie where these are aliens that don't have anywhere else to go. Their home worlds are destroyed or they're
That's
just trying to get
interesting.
by.
Yeah.
And I also love how the aliens too are like just working guys, guys and girls in society.
Yeah.
They've integrated. They're not they're just normal Joes, taxi drivers, clerk store owners.
In the
They're just trying to
lab, you see a bunch of guys
yeah,
working,
they're just trying to make a living, like immigrants
Yeah.
and migrants coming to the United States. They're not trying to disturb anything or be like, oh, treat me differently. It's like, no, I just want to be treated like a normal American or normal human in the context of this movie. So all these themes, like I had not realized before at the time, and the '90s was a time, at least in the United States, where we started becoming incredibly anti-immigrant and anti-migrant. This is the beginning of that shift. A lot of the laws that Bill Clinton was putting into place, and I just wonder if the filmmakers at the time were commenting on that. I mean, I've never read the comics. This is based on some comic
Mm.
books. So I don't know if this element were in the original comic books or if they wanted to work it into the movie. But I felt this was a very surprising, at least to me, like pro-immigration and pro-migrant film that I never had
Mm.
realized this until I rewatched it for this. I don't know. Did you pick up on any of that at
Now
all?
that you
Or
say it, I totally see it. And it's balanced, right? Like, of course, then there are bad ones too who've
as
totally
right,
gone off the rails.
as is
And
true in real life, right?
you got to do stuff and take care of them as well. So yeah, that is actually quite interesting.
I also want to point out too. Again, I mentioned the supporting cast, but I think the performance by Rip Torn is great as like the boss. But Vincent D'Onofrio in
He's
this movie
great.
is absolutely incredible. What he's able to pull off with not a lot of makeup. He's basically playing this alien bug who's wearing a human suit of skin. The way that he's walking around, where you can tell like there's a cockroach creature inside of him, is just some incredible like physical acting. It's
He's great.
just really in a way kind of steals the movie again, like I said, beyond sort of this, not a bunch of makeup or crazy effects. It's just him acting himself. It's just
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
He does steal the movie, actually, in my mind, especially, watching this after Independence Day very
Hmm.
quickly. I was like, Will is great, but he's the same.
Yeah.
And I was then immediately drawn to what Vincent D'Onofrio was doing. And you kind of waited that, oh, when is he coming back? Because that's
Hmm.
sort of when the movie actually goes somewhere, because had just so much, charisma even in what he's doing. So it's a good. I wish there was more of him directly paired with Will, actually, because that
Mm.
would be an interesting kind of face off, because they both have a lot of energy in different ways. But I mean, they do face off, but it's not as much.
Right, more as the bug versus Will than as the Vincent D'Onofrio
Yeah.
Edgar suit or whatever they call him, right? The
Yeah.
Edgar suit version. Yeah, that would definitely would have been super cool. So yeah, like on a rewatch, the immigration stuff came up, and also just again a reminder of how cool Will Smith was. And I was actually just at a wedding recently where I was in the wedding and we were taking photographs, and the groom was like, "Oh, we got to get sunglasses." Sunny, so he went to his car and he pulled out sunglasses, and one of them was actually the original Ray-Bans from this movie, not the in the movie, but
Uh,
he's like, "These are Men in Black Ray-Bans," and just getting those and putting them on, I felt instantly cool. Like just reminded, like, oh yeah, this movie is cool and Will Smith is cool, and like I can pretend like I'm in the Men in Black just wearing these sunglasses. It's just yeah, it's that nostalgia thing again for me. Just is on fire with this episode and all these Will Smith movies. So just yeah, Men in Black, and the song is great. Love the
song is
song.
very good. And
So
Tommy
move.
Lee Jones is very good in this movie, I
Oh,
thought,
he's
like
fantastic. Yeah.
he's kind of earned this reputation of a grouch and what have you. And I watched The Fugitive or rewatched it a few years ago, and he's so
Mm,
great in that.
excellent.
And and he's actually a very handsome, charismatic actor who can dial it up, dial it down, and can transcend all kinds of movies. Like, this is a goofy kids movie.
Hmm.
It has something on his mind, like you pointed out, but it is still a goofy kids movie with
Yeah.
special effects, and he's in it,
Yeah.
and he's taking it seriously and doing his thing. So yeah, hats off to Tommy Lee Jones is what I want to say.
Totally. And the pairing between his sort of very deadpan, sardonic humor and then Will
Yeah.
Smith's more like energetic, bold, sort of like snarky humor, they pair very well together. It's a great buddy cop movie, essentially. There's definitely a buddy cop element of
Yeah.
this in here too, which, I think Will Smith does a really good job in too. But yeah, Tommy Lee
Yeah.
Jones, great. I think this movie just again is a special, fun fun film. Hi there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I review a new release and then discuss 6 other movies made by that film's actor or director and how they shaped us. Subscribe right now or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.